and today we're going to take a look at Android Infiltration by Fantasy Flight Games. This was designed by Donald Vaccarino. I think that's how you say his name. If I slaughtered that, I apologize. And we've got some of the stuff set up here. We just want to give you a quick overview of the gameplay and some insight to it. So this is based in the Android universe, which is cyberpunk, futuristic, dystopian type future. If you're familiar with Shadowrun or any of the Android universe novels, you'll be very familiar with the setting. But essentially, you are one of 6 thieves, known as operatives, and your job is to infiltrate this facility for cyber solutions and steal as many data files as possible. Now the data files are real simple. They are these little tiny tokens. They're normally face down during the game, and you as a player can look at them and go ahead and see, okay, hey, I just took this one, it's worth 1, or I just took this one and it's worth 2, but your opponents are not going to see how many you have. The object of the game is you're going to search throughout this facility to get as many data files as you can and escape the facility to be the person with the most. Now, during the game, there are security mercs that are coming after you, and how close they are to you is represented by this proximity dial, which can change as the game goes along. Once that hits 99, they arrive, and anyone in the facility is caught and captured, and your data files don't count. They're all counted as 0, and you lose the game. So not only do you have to get into the facility and get files, you have to get out of the facility as well. So how do you do that? Well, it's set up right now, and starting here from the bottom left is your entry room. You go up the first floor by adjacent rooms, and then you go to the second floor and go up by adjacent rooms as well. There is also a secret room, which you may or may not get to during the game. There are certain functions of each of the cards or each of the rooms that you go into, and some of them will allow you to enter the secret room, but because it's random, you may not. As you see, there are many room cards over here that we haven't even used in the setup of the game. There's 32 total rooms in all, so every game is going to be different. There's blue for first level, there's yellow for second level, and then there's red for the secret rooms. They're really big, they're really bright, they're very colorful, and they have a lot of things going on them. But just to give you a quick overview, there's a place for interface tokens, if there is an interface function. There's a place for tech locks or potentially lab workers, if they are there. Those are hiding a specific number of data files. And each room has a data file store. So these that we have out show 8, 2, and 2. So when the room is revealed, you take 2 files from the common pool and put them on top of that, and during your actions of the room you'll be able to download and take them away. Essentially what happens is you turn over the first room, which in this case is the research admin office. We would then take 5. Now these would normally all be face down, but just for the sake of how we're doing this, I'm just pulling them out. We take 5 data files and put them on there. And we put an interface token on there. And the interface tokens are up here. The blues or purples are interface, the red are tech locks, and the yellows are lab workers. So the interface token goes on the card. Each of us that are playing, let's say it is Marilyn the driver and John McAvoy the muscle are playing, come into the room. And the first thing that happens is any reveal or any enter functions are resolved. So this one says reveal, increase the alarm dial by 1. Now while this is the proximity dial, this little dial is the alarm dial. So this would go up by 1. Now what does that mean? Well, at the end of your turn, you're going to roll this die. That would be really bad because we rolled a 6. So this would go up by 6. But you also have to add the alarm value, which is 1. So it would go up by 7 to 8. So the mercs get closer and closer and closer. Each room has different functions inside of it. Some could be enter, some could be interface, all these different things that can happen to you as you move up throughout the facility. How do you move? Great question. So each operative is going to start the game with 4 basic cards: advance, retreat, interface, and download. And you can read more in the blog post around what each one of them do. But these are basic actions that when you choose them from your hand, they'll go ahead and be completed and then come back. Advance, pretty obvious, moves you forward. Retreat moves you back. If you are on this entry room when you play your retreat, you will actually exit the facility and you will be out of the game in terms of collecting more data files. but you will have safely escaped the mercs coming to get you. And again, anyone left in the facility when that proximity dial hits 99 loses, they're captured, and they have 0 points for the score. Now, in addition to your 4 action cards, you also start the game with 4 random items from the item deck. These are really, really fun. Lots of combinations that you can do with them. Just as an example here, so like there's Call for Backup, which is increase or decrease the proximity dial by 10, and then discard at the end of your round. So if you're pretty close to escaping and you really want to hurt everybody else inside the facility, you can escape and increase the dial by 10. Or if you're really deep with all of your friends and you're on that second floor and you want to slow down the mercs coming after you, you can decrease it by 10. So lots of options, and these are just a few. High capacity wire is actually placed in your current room, for example. And it says, then you play your download or extract card. Now, downloading allows you to take these files from the room and put them into your store. All operatives who resolve their download or extract card in this room this round collect 2 additional data file tokens from the room's available data file tokens, and then discard high capacity wire at the end of round. So it's a really good way to get a lot of tokens right off the bat. Now, as you move through, you're going to reveal the cards. And as an example, this one says reveal, place the CX13 NPC card face down in this room. Now, in addition to all of the items and all of the fun things that you're going to have there are NPC cards that go and get placed in this room, same size, and they will do different things. Just as an example, there are also higher level rooms. So the computer lab has 6. You'll notice that this one had 2 data files, this one would have 6. And when you interface with this room by playing your interface card, then you will remove this room's interface token and destroy the lab worker in this room. So you'll actually get 4 additional data files from a common pool for doing that. There's a lot of different combinations as you walk through the rooms. This one, for instance, is prototype storage. When you reveal it, you increase the alarm dial by 1, and when you interface with it, you remove this room's interface token and take 1 prototype card from the special card pool and add it to your play area. Prototypes are really cool. There are prototype cards, there are bribery cards or blackmail cards, lots of extra things that will help you throughout the game to increase your data files, decrease your opponent's data files, bring those mercs closer, get them further away, just lots of combinations. If there's any downside to this game, it's really 2. The first is these item cards are beautiful, and they're tiny. They're really small. I get that the reason that Fantasy Flight chose to have them small is because you're going to place some of these in the room, right? So you're going to want to put them like this in the room. So you don't want a big card on top of a big card. But the artwork on them is really, really good and makes you really wish that they were bigger. The only other thing too is you'll notice here there's a lot of text on the cards for the operatives. But there's really no difference. So if I play Marilyn the driver versus playing John McAvoy the muscle, there's no advantage to playing one over the other. There's some really cool flavor text and quite a bit of it, but between being healthy or being wounded, which basically slows down your movement, there's no difference in terms of the characters. That was kind of disappointing. The first person that was on top of our stack when we opened it was this guy, Gabriel Correa Santiago, the tech expert. So my natural instinct was, well, he's probably going to help me destroy tech locks. But he doesn't. So that was a little disappointing. I wish there was a little variation or some kind of tweak to, some people could reveal things faster or change the proximity faster, just some kind of impact as to who you played in the game. But that said, the overall gameplay is really fun. The stress of the proximity dial getting faster and faster to 99, which goes really fast, really stresses you out. It makes you, get deeper and deeper into the facility, and then it gets closer and closer to 99. You're like, uh-oh, do I run all the way out, or do I stay where I am and try and find a way through an interface or something to escape? The gameplay is varied again. Like we said, there's 32 cards total for the rooms, and every game you play is going to be very different because you're shuffling up those cards, placing 6 of the first levels, 6 of the second levels, and then 1 of the secret rooms. One really, really nice thing that I liked, and Fantasy Flight does a good job about this, Their instruction booklet is highly detailed, very colorful, and very straightforward in terms of gameplay. We picked this up in about 10-15 minutes of reading the book, jumped right in and got our first game done in about 30-45 minutes. So overall, we're giving this game a crit, both for its theme, its artwork, but mostly for its design. It's very, very well designed. It's very, very fun to play, whether you're playing 2 players or 6 players, and just something that you can be both cooperative, fighting against the NPCs that you run into, and controlling that proximity dial, but also competitive because you're trying to get out with the highest number of data file tokens. Now there is a very interesting solo variant, and I talked slightly about it in the blog post, but the solo variant allows you to pick multiple characters, and this is just something that we created. You just pick multiple characters to start the game with, and when you choose the data files, when you download them and take them for your person, just don't look at them. It's that simple. So you could play like 1 or 2 people at the same time and just take those from the common pool, because again, they're all face down in the common pool when they're placed out here, so as long as you don't look at them, you don't know how many you have. And just try to say, okay, I'm going to push it with this guy or not push it with this guy, and try and escape and get out and see what happens. So obviously you want your guys to escape, and then at the end you flip it over and see how many tokens each person had, and that person is the winner. You're playing both of them, but you know it's just an interesting way to play solo. But again, overall, we give it a crit. Very, very fun game. Very, very well designed. As always with Fantasy Flight, very, very good production, good quality, and great artwork. We hope you enjoy it, and definitely look forward to seeing you inside the Android universe stealing those data files. Take care.